The elevator doors were already open when the security guard reached the 7th floor. The hallway lights flickered in a slow, uneven rhythm, as if the building itself were breathing. The digital panel above the elevator displayed a single word in red letters: basement, even though the elevator had just arrived from below, inside the cabin. The air looked disturbed, not visibly moving, not swirling, but wrong, like heat rising from an invisible surface. The guard stood still at the threshold, listening. There was a faint tapping sound, not from the walls, not from the ceiling, from somewhere. Behind him, he turned. The hallway was empty, but the motion sensor light at the far end had turned on, slowly, gently, as if something had just crossed beneath it. The guard stepped inside the elevator. The doors closed. No, his button was pressed, and the cabin began to descend. His name was Arjun Mehta, a 34-year-old night security guard assigned to an aging corporate apartment complex on the outskirts of the city. The building was tall, narrow, and silent after sunset. During the day, the place carried a dull, office-like routine. At night, felt abandoned in a way that could not be explained by empty rooms alone. The building had 8 floors and a basement, caging level that required restricted access. The elevator system was old but functional, inspected regularly, and connected to a centralized monitoring panel inside the security. Arjun had been working there for 11 months. He had never seen the elevator move on its own before that night. Every shift followed the same pattern. At 9 p.m., the building closed. Lights dimmed automatically. Motion sensors activated. The elevator entered standby mode, responding only to keycard authorization. After midnight, silence usually settled into a heavy, predictable stillness. But on that night, at exactly 2:17 a.m., the monitoring panel displayed movement. Elevator 3 had activated no. Access request was logged. No door had opened, and yet the cabin began descending from the 7th floor to the basement. The first time it happened, Arjun assumed it was a system error. He watched the camera feed as the elevator doors opened in the basement. The interior light flickered once. For a moment, the cabin appeared empty. Then the camera adjusted its exposure. Something stood in the far corner. The shape was human in height and proportion, but its outline appeared slightly blurred, as though the camera lens struggled to focus on it. The figure faced directly toward the camera, but did not move. No entry was recorded. No weight fluctuation was logged. Yet the elevator remained occupied. Arjun rewound the footage repeatedly. Each time, the doors opened to an empty basement. Each time, when the lights stabilized, the shape was already present. He checked the basement camera. Nothing. No door movement. No shadow. No reflection. But the elevator weight sensor indicated the passenger. That night, Arjun did not investigate. He logged the anomaly and remained inside the security office until sunrise. The following night, he monitored the system closely at 2:17 a.m. Elevator 3 activated again. This time it ascended, basement to 5th floor. Doors opened. No one exited. The weight reading remained unchanged. The camera inside the elevator showed only empty space, except for a faint distortion near the rear panel, like air bending around an unseen object. Arjun watched for 14 minutes. The elevator doors remained open. Then they closed on their own. The cabin descended again by the 3rd night. The building felt different. Arjun noticed the silence had changed. Not quieter, thicker. Sound did not travel normally through the corridors. His footsteps seemed absorbed by the floor. The hum of electrical fixtures carried a strange vibration, almost like a low whisper that never formed words. He began checking the elevator. Manually during patrols, the cabin smelled faintly metallic, like heated wires or old coins. He found no mechanical fault, no system error, no maintenance alerts. Yet the log records showed something impossible. Weight registered without identity. Movement without command. Okay? Door operation without trigger. And always at the same time. 2:17 a.m. On the sixth night, Arjun decided to observe the elevator from inside. He entered the cabin at 2:15 a.m. and stood still, hands clasped behind his back, eyes fixed on the panel. The seconds passed slowly. At 2:17 a.m. exactly, the overhead light dimmed slightly. The cabin temperature dropped, and the elevator began descending. He had pressed nothing. When the doors opened at the basement, the air inside felt heavier, thicker than normal. The parking area lights were functioning, yet the far end of the basement appeared unusually dark, not shadowed, but absorbed. Arjun stepped out. He turned to face the elevator. The weight sensor reading remained active. The cabin was still occupied. From that night onward, Arjun began hearing sounds during his patrols. Soft tapping inside the elevator shaft, a slow, dragging noise between floors, and once, while standing in the security office, he heard a sound that resembled breathing, not close, not distant, but aligned perfectly with the rhythm of the building's electrical hum. He reviewed archived maintenance records 9 years earlier. During a renovation, a technician had reported irregular sensor activity in elevator 3. The issue had been resolved without documented cause. No. Incident report followed. No structural fault recorded. Nothing. Explained why the anomaly had returned. The pattern continued. Elevator. Movement at 2:17 a.m. Weight without occupant. Distortion. In-camera feed. Gradual change in atmosphere. Arjun's sleep deteriorated. He began feeling watched, even when alone in the security office. The monitor screens occasionally displayed brief static, patterns that resembled silhouettes. He stopped using elevator 3 during patrols until the night they called him Dot happened without warning. At 2:17 a.m., all 3 elevators activated. Simultaneously, elevators 1 and 2 displayed air signals and shut down immediately. Elevator 3 remained active. Its door opened on the ground floor. The control panel inside illuminated every button at once. Arjun stood across the lobby, watching. The cabin appeared empty, but the weight sensor displayed 2 components. He approached slowly. The interior camera feed showed the rear corner slightly distorted, like heat haze above asphalt. The distortion extended upward, almost human in height. Arjun stepped inside. The doors closed immediately. Every floor indicator went dark except one. Basement. The elevator descended faster than normal speed. During the descent, the tapping sound returned, rhythmic, deliberate, coming from the wall directly behind him. He did not turn when the doors opened. The basement lights flickered once. The cabin weight reading changed from 2 occupants to 1. Arjun did not remember exiting the elevator. He later found himself standing in the basement corridor facing a blank concrete wall. The motion sensor behind him activated slowly. Though he had not moved, the elevator door remained open. Empty. Weight reading 0. That night, he submitted his resignation, but he was required to complete one final shift before replacement. On his last night, Arjun avoided the elevators entirely. He completed patrols using the stairwell. The building felt quieter than ever. Even the electrical hum had faded. At 2:17 a.m., the monitoring system activated automatically. Elevator 3 began ascending from the basement. No command issued. Arjun remained in the security office, watching. The camera inside the cabin showed nothing unusual until the 7th floor when the doors opened. The distortion was gone. Instead, a clear reflection appeared in the polished steel wall. A human figure standing directly behind where a passenger would stand. The figure was identical to Arjun. Same uniform, same posture, same stillness. But the real Arjun was in the security office Watching the elevator doors closed, the cabin descended to the basement. The camera feed cut to static for exactly 3 seconds when the image returned. The elevator was empty. Weight sensor, one occupant. Doors opened. No one exited. At sunrise, Arjun completed his final report and left the building. He did not speak about what he had seen. The management later reviewed the logs. They confirmed that Elevator 3 continued to activate at 2:17 a.m. every night, but a new anomaly had appeared. Since Arjun's departure, the weight sensor always registered a single occupant during movement, even when the cabin was visibly empty. Months later, maintenance technicians replaced the entire elevator system. New wiring, new sensors, new cameras. Elevator 3 was permanently decommissioned, yet the monitoring system occasionally displayed a phantom signal movement between the 7th floor and the basement. No cabin existed there anymore. No shaft remained active, but the logs recorded travel. And always at the same time, 2:17 a.m. The final inspection report contained a minor note that received little attention. During removal of the old elevator shaft, workers discovered unusual wear patterns inside the interior wall. Vertical markings at human shoulder height, repeating at consistent intervals between floors. The marks did not match mechanical friction. They resembled impressions made by repeated contact, like something had been standing there for a very long time. The building remains operational. The 7th floor corridor still experiences a intermittent motion sensor activation at night, even when unoccupied. The basement camera occasionally registers brief distortion in the air near the former elevator entrance. No explanation has been confirmed, but archived footage from Arjun's final shift remains stored in the system in one frame captured exactly at 2:17 a.m. The polished interior wall of the elevator reflects a security guard standing inside the cabin, facing forward, still watching, and the reflection does not blink.